Greetings, Masandawana. We are back. We are back with the big one. The season preview of Mamelodi Sundowns. We'll be looking ahead to the 2025-2026 season. And yeah, I've got familiar faces with me, man. I've got my brothers here, people that are no longer Majida fella that I know from Twitter, but people that I call my friends today. And I'm happy to be with them to look ahead to the new season. Next to me, I've got Malums. Malums, are you well?
I am blessed, brother. Blessed to be with you. And then, thank you for this wonderful day. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. And across the table, I've got, my brother, my blood. Raps, what's up?
Yeah, no, as I'm not. I'm also looking forward to this season preview. And I think it is going to be, we're going to have fun. And I hope that people will watch and enjoy the season preview as well, man.
Next to Raps, I've got the man with the famous surname. The man who came with this beautiful, can't Tulagala jersey. Debza, how are you?
I'm good, my friend. I'm good. I'm glad that we are finally here. It's been long overdue. We've been discussing this and planning for this review show for a long time, and I'm happy. And just like Rap said, I look forward to the discussions that we'll be having, and hopefully we'll have fun and people will be engaged.
Yeah, man, that's all we want, to have fun and engage, for people to engage, you know. Guys, the most important thing that, or a side note, we are recording this preview on the 19th of July, 2026. So we are recording this preview 2 weeks before the start of the season and before the start of pre-season. The guys will go back to look up on Monday, the 21st, I think, and then travel to Rustenburg for pre-season. So if it does happen that we say we're talking about transfers and we mention players that are still at the club, and then by the time you watch this, you realize that no, so-and-so has left. Please remember, or bear in mind that we recorded this on the 19th of July. So please do keep that in mind when you are watching this. That's what I wanted to get out of the way, man. Guys, let's start the preview. But before we go deeper, I don't want us to talk about, to do a review last season, but I want to touch on just one person, Haribuaka, last season, and I want to hear your thoughts with regards to this. What did you make of Cardoso's first season at Sundowns, and does he need to win the Champions League next season for him to stay for the 2026-2027 season? I'll start with you, Malums.
Well, CAF Champions League is the bar. CAF Champions League is the level where we should touch as Mamelodi Sundowns, you know. And then you look at Cardoso, on how he was introduced to us, most of us as Sundowns people. This is the guy that we faced during Roland's teenager. He showed us how he has the ability, or has the capability to win CAF Champions League. Doing a back-to-back CAF Champions League final, not so many coaches are able to do that here in Africa. So the question about should he win it, for me, it's definitely yes. If he doesn't win it, then the door must be opened for someone else. We cannot compromise on that. Pragmatic, we cannot clown enough. We need to be clear about this. Sundowns deserve to win another CAF Champions League. Sundowns must win it. Sundowns must dominate. We cannot be dominating the league only and then going to the world and showing our prowess, but we cannot show our prowess in Africa. It's another story. So for now,
Champions
League season, and then definitely Champions League must be in the bag.
Debza, what I'm hearing from Malums is that with regards to Cardoso, it's Champions League or nothing.
Malume is borrowing from those other guys while they go Soweto. You don't want to ban a from Malume.
Kind of what did that? Ben, I'm done. You say league or death.
They don't want to ban from Malume Sikhale. I agree with him. then the other part I'll elaborate later in the show, that it's not enough just to play the Champions League. For me, it's not enough to get to the final. It's about time we win this thing. We missed, I think, 3 or 4 seasons. Even during COVID, we could have easily won that thing. But with Cardoso specifically, he came in, yes, under whatever situation that he came in, and we know his capabilities because he has shown it. I think as a club, we need to win it this season. It's not an obsession as the famous word that we mustn't be obsessed, guy or no whatnot. It's a trophy that we need to lift this year and not just reach the final. We cannot be able with just reaching the final. It needs to be won. That big fish needs to come home up this time around.
And I also believe it can bring about peace within the fan base, you know. You can win that thing. Bring about peace.
That's actually a very good point, because
it's something that holds the team at like lockheads, man.
True.
If we can win that thing, I believe we can chill and say, you know.
Yeah, no, true. I agree with you, madams.
Perhaps?
Yeah, no, I think since his arrival, and I think we judge him based on last season, I think he did fairly well. And considering that he didn't have the preseason with the team, he was appointed during the middle of the season. So I think getting to the final, I think we obviously want to win the final, but getting there, man, it is tough. And so many coaches failed with having a preseason with the team. So I think he did fairly well. But in terms of next season, man, I think we need to meet our objectives, man. And one of them is winning the CAF Champions League, man. And it is so important. And we need to also consider the invest that we make in terms of when the season starts, the players that we sign, the amount of money that we spend. So we can't just spend those huge amounts of money and they'll go down the drain without us achieving what we want to attain as a team. So I think it is a must, man, to win the CAF Champions League. As much as I don't want to sound desperate, man, but it has to come, man. Like, it has to come. Like, it has to come, man.
I honestly agree with you guys, and yeah, it really is Champions League one, I think, because I think any coach wins the league with that squad, yeah, Sundowns. So the main one then has to be the Champions League. And Rapelang just touched on the investment that we make more Sundowns, you know. That's where I want to take my next point. And this point comes from a conversation that we had. Oh, by the way, before I go any further, forgot to say this when we started the recording. There will be a part 1 and part 2 of the preview. So this is the part 1, and then there will be a part 2 to follow. So please do watch both part 1 and part 2. So as I was saying, I'm going back to something that you brought up on the WhatsApp group a few months ago. And I'm going to pose this question to you because you posed this on a group. Now I want to hear your views, and all Masandawana must hear your views. Then, at what point does winning the league, at what point do we start considering winning the league failure? Winning the league only? Because when you look at the investment that Rapelang spoke about and what we have at the end of the season, the return on investment, man, it doesn't make sense if we're being honest, you know. So at what point does winning the league only become failure? And what is holding back this team from winning other trophies, domestic trophies even? Because the last one that we won was the Nedbank 21-22 season, Rustenburg. And then okay, the AFL was a continental trophy, 2023. Ne? But for the amount of money that we spent, should be only winning the league only. I know we sound like spoiled kids, you know, like league, people would kill for the league, you know. But at what point, Debza, does it get considered failure?
It becomes a failure. Not because you are reducing the value of the league, right? Now you bring into context Tabayakure, who's your coach, right? What has the coach done previously? Then secondly, the club. Which club is it? Thirdly, then the investment part, which is very important. Those guys are not getting paid like any other football club. Yeah. They get paid a lot of money, those guys. They get signed. So all of these have to be put into context and added and be used as quantifiables when you start saying, is it a failure if they just only bring in one trophy, which is just the league at the end of the season? Considering all these three things, we cannot continue in this way if we are signing, whether it's a local player or a foreign-based player, for a certain amount, and they're getting paid so much money. We all know these guys are getting paid, and you can see, their social profiles, they're getting paid and how they carry their lives. It's not enough, and it cannot continue to be acceptable that these guys, we are okay and we tiptoe around these players. Players need to be held accountable. Coaches need to be held accountable. The club also needs to be held accountable, because you cannot bring so much. You cannot acquire so many players. Valuation, like an overseas player who comes in must be way above average. You cannot bring player to compete. I don't want to speak about other players, but you cannot bring player overseas and expect him to perform at the same level as a local player. Those players that we usually bring from overseas, they've gone through development, and you expect so much. The bar is very high for them. You understand? So if Kikoki is a player overseas, that guy needs to take us over the edge of Sokolankayon. And again, also our player mentality, whether locally or overseas, our player mentality, I think when we get to a final, something just happens with these players. Something just happens with these players. The previous coaching is my favorite. These players. The previous coach, before Coach Cardoso, Mangoba, I still don't believe it was solely on him that we lost that trophy.
The culling knockout.
The culling knockout. I solely don't believe it is him. The coach is not perfect. He's got his flaws. But those players, they need to be held accountable for what they did. If we are to deal with things at Sundowns, and if we don't address those player issues for Sundowns, the ones that go the background, the ones that are the group, we will have such seasons, season after season, season after season. We will never get the trophies that we should be getting at the end of the season. They need to be honest, those players, when they step on the field. And if we don't hold players accountable and only hold coaches accountable, we will never be able to rid the team of players who don't want to show up when it needs to be shown. The big players must show up at the end of the season. When it matters, qualifying, they need to show up. I got to give big players. Get the favorites around. So not favorites, they need to show up. We cannot have a favorite who 1, 2, and 3, and 4. How? Come final. That player earlier without him we won. Let him be there. Let him take us over the edge. Because if you don't do that, we're always gonna be falling short come end of the season. Player mentality, I think there was a time more losing Nedbank Cup a couple of seasons back. I think they like Bloemfontein against Parents or something, or Kumpumalang. Nearly like in Sun of the Soil, finally. You could see player mentality, no, it's not there. You need to be hungry, you need to fight. You need to play that game. A final is played differently compared to all these knockout stages. A final, you need to win that match. Whatever it takes, win that match. Whether you mad it or you play 1,000 passes, win that match. It's played differently. You cannot deploy the same tactics that you play all season long or cut the previous games for that match.
I hear you, ne? And you actually answered the question that I was going to ask after this one. More than you did the question that I posed. You very fiery today. So if we win the league only next season, yes or no? Would you consider that it's failed?
Everybody at the club has failed. From the head. From the head. Raps? More especially the players. Sorry, Raps. More especially the players.
I think we shouldn't take winning the league as a light fame. And like, it's not easy. As much as we have done it over the years, and 8 times in a row. But it is not easy. It takes a lot of work. But I think winning the league has become a norm, man. Like, we are going to the new season knowing that we are going to win the league already. Like, we are confident enough. We know that we are going to win the league. But winning it alone, man, I think it is a failure according to me, man, because of how we have done it in the past and how easy we make it look, man. Like, we have done it in the past. So, according to them, man, winning the league alone, man, it is a failure, man, because of, like you have said, we spoke about our budget, our investment, like also how we play, man. We have whatever it takes to win other trophies, man. And it was disappointing last season that we failed to win one domestic trophy. And like my brother has said, man, I think sometimes, like when we get to bigger games, more especially on the knockouts, man, I think that there's something that is missing, man. Like
EMT,
there's something that is missing, and sometimes our big players, they don't show up in big games, man. And my brother said that sometimes we send players because of there's something missing in the team, and we want that certain player to help us to get where we want to be, man. But come knockouts, man, we struggle, and it is not only the previous season. I think in the past, man, like growing up watching Mamelodi Sundowns, we have been struggling, man, in the knockout tournaments, man. So I think to hear only the previous season, even in the past, it has been happening, man. So I think it is part of our culture. When we get to the knockouts, like we start to freeze and we don't succeed. But like I'm saying, winning the league alone, it is not something that I would regard as a success, man.
Malums, close this one for us.
Going into this new season, my motto or my hashtag says 2 is better than 1. Like as a man, angeke ukhona ukuhlala you need a helper.
Hey,
so ukuwina i-league iyodwa awusenzi ukuthi becoming successful. So it's either we have to win the MTN 8, win the Carling Cup, or win the FA Cup. So winning the league alone doesn't put me right.
Yeah, no,
so 2 is better than 1. Yeah, so at least finish the season having won CAF Champions League, the league, FA Cup, and then Elias Como Il.
The preseason tournament.
Then we can say okay, sure. But otherwise, if we win the league only, then we have to look at the whole team from your director down to the players.
Yeah, no. My panel today. Yeah, no. At least you guys are speaking your truth. Malums, please move forward your words and more that camera. But and I agree with you guys, because it like I said, the return on investment doesn't make sense, man. For the amount of money that Sundowns spends, like Thabiso said, the salary packages our players are on. They for them to be putting league fell at the end of the season, no, it doesn't make sense. But when do we start putting the blame, the lack of this domestic success on the players? When do we start confronting them, or guys, you are to blame for this as the players are Sundowns? Because like you're saying, guys, when the going gets tough, they shrink our players, like they you look at, and I'm not even trying to single out Majida here, but you look at what happened in the CAF Champions League final, man. First leg, but more so second leg for me, the chances that we got, the chance that Tashrik got, the same chance that he got at the Club World Cup. Grant, experienced player doing that, Kamo 18, like when do we start saying more? We're not gonna blame the coach, we're not gonna blame the management, we are blaming you, Jens Kelona, Barjesang, Alfred finaling. Raps.
Yeah, and I think the coach knows his role, and he has to execute his role very well. Same applies to the players, man. The players, once they get inside the field, man, they have to apply themselves and they have to do what the coach wants from them. Yes, sometimes we speak about the chances that the big chances that we miss and that stops us from winning the tournament, but also collectively, man, we need to do better, man. I think sometimes singling out players, it is not fair, but sometimes we have to.
It has to be done sometimes. Rapelang or Jason.
We have to, man.
Because you know why I'm saying that, ne? You go to social media, there are certain players that we are quick to say, so and so we are Jason. But when certain players make mistakes, Rabapata, and we all do it. Let them to blame. I do it as well. We all do it, So sorry for
I think we do that because of we want the best from the players and from the team as well. So I think it comes from us wanting the team to success, not because of we just criticize for the sake of criticizing. We want the best out of this team, man. But hopefully, this next season, man, it is going to be a different story, man.
Malums?
Well, I think we should start treating these people as professionals. And then professionals are held accountable.
Yeah.
Because now we treat these people as like babies.
Yeah.
When we try to touch them, someone else will want to come and protect them. Mm-hmm. And that's it. And it is the way that you're going to discipline your baby. If someone says, no,
yeah.
That's what we're doing with Sundowns players.
Yeah.
We've played CAF Champions League every season.
We always claim to have paid school fees. Can't there not school fees are every season?
No, we're still there. Like we're behaving like we're in grade 10, trying to sort out our subjects. We're changing subjects. Like we need to hold these guys accountable. They are professionals. Like A has to be A, B has to be B. We don't have to mix A and B and say, hi. No. So now I feel like everyone has to be held accountable for the team, for us to progress, for us to know this is a game of high magnitude. Less mistakes, more focus. There's a game that we played against Wydad Casablanca at Loftus. She was sliding in that game. And then that team played. That team.
Is it the one mistake? Ungulia.
Yambule.
Foul Yambule. Ungulia
Yamval. You see that match? We played. Forget about the mistake. We played. And then if you can look at that team and look at the team that we have now, two different teams. We don't have that team. If you can go back to that team, we're easily doing better. So the players start to have to look at themselves as well. Are we doing enough for the supporters that are always pointing fingers to us? Are we doing enough for our partners? Are we doing enough for the club? Because this club is huge now. This club, now it's a world-known club. But errors need to be dealt away.
Close it, Debs.
Machida raised two valid points. Not two. They raised valid points. No? Players need to be held accountable, primarily because of not only financially, but the team that they play for. Mm-hmm. When you sign for this team, there is a lot at stake. You don't sign just to win a trophy or whatnot. You sign to win trophies and big money for you and your family, right? And there's a huge, whether competition in terms of numbers and fan base, there's people who love this club. A lot of people who love this club. And you have to fight. The minute you get onto that team and on the field and get selected, you have to fight. Be honorable. Like Ucho Malums about how some players, when they make certain mistakes, we are very quick to lambast them for a season. And those people are humans. Ne? We lambast them, then at some point it will get to them that there's an attack on them. But Babang, we want to create excuses. I still remember game at Stellenbosch. I will never forget that. There's a game at Stellenbosch. Shika made a huge mistake.
Like last season.
Not last season. I think the season before.
Season before, yeah.
They took that ball from the. I think it was a game. They restarted the game. They took the ball much that. But nothing was ever said. Never stadium ka grant. I think the first time we opened stadium ka game grant. Grant is like a Chiefs.
Chivaviro. No, it was not final. Nearly league game.
No, yeah, game. But the performance high in that game. It's questionable, but nobody says anything. Mvala, we killed Mvala.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, we destroyed him too.
If any player was also suffered the most, Kim Vala in terms of criticism. Shika literally bar costly in Nako. Was it the season Unelakipule?
No, the AFL Cup guy. Remember they broke into
Tebza when he doesn't pitch up. No, replay somebody next to him. I replay me. Kuli so heights and to Zahai. No, yay. No, central rap. But Irritable is a mistake. He's dead. Irrepito, it's a mistake. They are gone. In veterinary ratan. I think the previous senior as another soil. He missed so many opportunities to make technical fouls, which we end up conceding. Nothing was ever said. We need to make sure that as much as the food chain is not the same, you understand?
True.
And obviously, and the value of the player,
yeah.
But we need to hold each and every player accountable. If we look at the player, we need to go all in on all of them. Whether it's a small or whatever, because there's consequences, there's a ripple effect. Ronza hides a mistake, yes, goalkeeper get the last man, it will be very big, you understand? But we still need to not show up. If we're going to have that mentality of the player and we kill them, or I mean, not kill them, we crucify them, we need to be fair across all the players. So we can't crucify only barring as the big players, and the other ones, then we treat them, you know, you understand? Because they will continue doing those things. Because what's the leeway? Leeway, coach, understand this. No, these people are humans, but it's the mistakes. Football players make mistakes. But when the other player, remember the current coach, I think it was, who got subbed very quickly. I think No. There was a player when Kimashi or Maseko. He made a huge fumble. I think Nedbank Cup or something. He got subbed very quickly. Cardoso means very quickly. After he made a mistake. I think it was Maseko or Maseko. One of the two.
Maseko
was subbed very quickly. We need to have the same mentality. Yes, coach is emotional as well sometimes, you understand, and we'll play. But we need to be fair towards all the players and treat them equally so that they can all deliver.
Yeah, no. I fully agree with you, gents. Our players, they need to rise to the occasion more so these important games. You can't always be blaming the coaches and someone that I'm going to go in at right now. Speaking of accountability, Sundowns appointed a sporting director April 2022, Flemming Berg. And since his arrival, the turnovers, the coaches, has been crazy when you look at before his arrival. Since 2012 to 2022, it wasn't that insane. 2012, that's when Pito started. Since he arrived, we've had joint coaches, Mangoba, Rulani, now Cardoso. And during that period, 0 Champions Leagues. When does it become the sporting director's fault? When do we start putting the blame on Flemming Berg's door? And is Flemming Berg good for Sundowns, or is he a cancer? Because from what I know, I'm not sure if division would be the right word to use, but players are not happy at Sundowns. That I know for a fact. Certain players are not happy at Sundowns because there are some things that are just blatant. There's Alamo Sundowns and you can tell there's favoritism. The local boys are not happy. And the issue, the South American boys, maybe issue is the wrong word to use, but the treatment that the local boys get the South Americans is different. And this doesn't sit well with the local boys. And they don't have an issue per se with the South American boys. They have an issue with how they are treated compared to the South American boys. And you look at what we always do in the transfer market, we seemingly have scouts in South America. When last did Sundowns go to West Africa and find a player? Why are we focusing on only the South American market? Are there people benefiting from these signings to South America? Because it doesn't make sense. You can't tell me this huge continent with over 50 countries, Sundowns can't go and find talent. They can only find talent in South America. When do we start blaming the sporting director? Because with what I've said and with what I know, obviously some of the things you can't say because you need to protect the identity of Majida, but I can tell you now, someone is going to say it's useless of me to raise this and not mention names. It's fine, and I understand why you'd say that. Players are not happy with how they are treated compared to the South American boys. When do we start blaming Flemming Berg? And is Flemming Berg a cancer to Mamelodi Sundowns that's eating Mamelodi Sundowns slowly but surely? I do not know which one of you wants to go first. The floor is yours.
I'll go first, man. I think, first of all, Flemming Berg is not competent, man. I don't regard him.
Can I interject? I disagree with you. I think Flemming Berg is competent. I just think there are things that he does that derail the success of the team. This guy, he's experienced. I think he's competent. I think maybe competent is not the right word to use. But let me give you the chance to make your point.
Yeah, no, because of you look at after his appointment, man, like the way the team has been moving. First of all, we are not a coach. When we are not a team that normally release coaches, appoint coaches. Like you look at how people stayed at Sundowns. That's what we want from the team. We want a coach that is going to stay longer in the team and help the team to success. But the firing and the appointing of new coaches, I think it what stops us sometimes to success and get where we want to.
And the firing happens because we don't win the Champions League. So if I'll go back to Lepulane. If Lepulane was fired because of that, Cardoso should have been fired. Even though I'm not pro Cardoso being fired. I want Cardoso to be given a chance. But looking back at the decisions that Flemming Berg has taken.
And another thing that I think Flemming Berg, the team has given him so much power, man. Like he's very influential, that guy. He can decide tomorrow who leaves, who comes, man. That is so, like it shows he has too much power, and having too much power, sometimes it is likely to misuse that power and use that power in a way that is not good at all, and it affects the team and the entire brand. So for now, man, there are things that we need to look around Flemming Berg as well as the team, and also everything that needs to be done should be done for the team to benefit and for the team to get where it wants to be. But I think, like you say, if we say Lepulane is being fired because of he failed to deliver CAF Champions League, what about the other coach? So it shows some cases are not being treated equally, man. So, and it is not nice, man. What you do on the left hand side, you should do it on the right hand side, man. So, so the treatment has to be equal, because of if the treatment is not equal, man, there's going to be a huge chaos, man, around the team.
Debza?
Well, Iso mentions that the treatment is not the same, and then comes in a picture that I want to paint. Local guys are sleeping on bunk beds, and then the South Americans are sleeping on restonic beds, or like top quality beds. So then we look at the person that is in charge, or the person that creates that environment. When he arrived, he said there's gonna be a lineage or a pathway. Now I am for youth. Let me just build my story up. He said there will be a pathway between the first team and our DDC. And you look at the whole 5 years now, it's 5 years now, and only one. Okay, one, it's Khoza. Mapena is not, wasn't getting enough minutes. Lepulane, out of the blue, he's out. So you look at the person that said, we're going to work towards making use of the development, but our development is stagnant. We're not promoting players. We're not selling any of our development players. But there's a transfer room that says we want to buy and sell. How many have we sold since we joined transfer room? 0. So where's the pathway that he spoke about for our TDC? It's unquestionable. Then we move again. How many trophies has he left as a sporting director?
Per season.
Per season. So that's another question. He has failed in those regards as a sporting director. You look at, he comes from Barcelona. This guy has to be pushing Sundowns above big levels, and we're not touching them. The coaching scenarios, it's one of those things that I hate so much now. Now I believe now that I'm gonna be a pro. You see, Mangoba was gonna win us CAF Champions League.
Why are you getting excited?
No.
Coach Mangoba was gonna win us CAF Champions League. You see, there are certain coaches, man, when you look at them, or you look at how we played, and then they were shoved out. And then you look now, I feel like we've went 5 steps behind. We're not utilizing the final third. You are signing players not according to our needs, maybe according to his needs. Sundowns needs creativity. When last did we had a creative 8, a creative midfielder for Sundowns? Don't tell me about forwards, because we're treating more. Ribeiro is a midfielder, but we're treating him as a forward. He's creative in the forward, but in the sense of when we sign players, when we use this transfer room, are we looking at the areas that we need to be balanced? We can play as good as we want, share so many passes, but if there's no creativity, there's no way the ball will kiss the net, as Mangoba said. Like, he wants the ball to kiss the net. And then you win championship by the ball kissing the net. So now I feel like the sporting director is delaying Mamelodi Sundowns. Mamelodi Sundowns are not touching the levels that they should be touching, because there's an area of focus that seems to be a personal thing rather than being the club area of focus. So we need to look at that, the pathway that Sundowns is traveling in. It's not enterprising.
Yeah, no. Malums, you spoke from the heart. Just worried kana konje, but let me give you.
I'll try and be brief. There's a word that Raps used. Are the influencer, this guy. So there's a question. The influencer guy, I've come to learn, and so like you, there's certain names I cannot disclose of how far this guy goes, and maybe he practiced that overseas in terms of how far he goes. In his involvement with the actual team, match day team. I'm sure everybody can get that. And I will not disclose. I've come to learn that. And it's not only him. So I will say him and the people who brought him in are to blame for what's currently happening.
Yeah.
What did they say to him? he's allowed to do. And having shared that information, did they relay the same information to the coaches that this guy we're bringing me in to do 1, 2, and to have such an influence? The players that he has brought, locally, I'll pack it aside. The players that he has brought from overseas, number one, Mjida, he's not good enough. What do you say? That guy is average. We've created so many excuses for him saying he's a striker, he's an 8, he's a 10, he's a this. Yeah, he plays better when he's coming from the middle. That guy is not good enough. I'll even put Mjito Kawatilenke, goalkeeper La Perez,
Abubakar,
way ahead of him. Nasir was something else. Nasir was special.
And Nasir was a very good player.
Nasir is way better than Majida I2. Every day. Ekarnal contract every day. Every match. And it goes back to her treatment. Majida is never off, Alan. Ekarnal's got a contract all the time.
Please pack that. I want us to end that actually.
Okay.
Let me just as we end part 1, I'll let you continue there, and I want you to continue there because that was going to be my closing topic. Do certain players at Sundowns have clauses to play as long as Bali fit, and is there fairness when it comes to the lineup, Lady Substar Sundowns? Please continue for more. You guys will take over. When Tebza is done, you'll run with that.
I don't think there is fairness in terms of player selection. And you start thinking, Hori, somebody somewhere beyond the coach has an influence of who plays and how many minutes. I tried to delay this reality for a long time until I came to the reality and understanding and privilege of certain things. Hori, Ndanga goes too far. And it's not acceptable to a coach. And you've seen certain coaches who were not okay with what Ntanga has done. One of them being Son of the Soil.
Ntanga, Flemming Berg.
Also, Ntanga to Flemming Berg. He went too far in certain instances. That is not to say, no, I'm protecting the players for not performing on the day. This is another person who needs to be held accountable, along with the people that brought him in. The body Aruna. It's very questionable decision making. The board is very questionable decision making for having brought this guy in. And if we were to say Flemming Berg, he's been enabled to behave the way he's doing. You understand? Uwileka, my favorite coach, that he was going to win us that. Yes, we will never know if it was going to happen or not, but I believe it was. Football has changed. It does not require you to only do the circulate the ball 15 million times. You have to get there and make sure the ball gets into the net. Football demands that. Lately, that's what football demands. And you can see globally, that's what coaches are trying to do. You understand? That's how you win football matches. Yes, you must be stable and whatnot. But you need to get the ball there quickly and make sure you use it. Even if you rotate it now and then to draw people out. But it needs to get there. It needs to be moved very quickly. The guys back in South America, Peste Sales, there's been so many times where he's put in a 3 or a 2 or a 1. But 2 games down the line, you see him.
Not even 2 games down the line, he underperforms this game. And then the next game, he starts on the bench. But around 60th minute, he's going to start. Whereas Majida Amang, Blesser can get substituted at halftime. And next weekend, he's not touching grass. That's the
reality.
Allende, he happens to be one of my favorite players at Sundowns, and I think he had an amazing season. He had a great season, but when his form dropped, more so towards the end of the season, you're like, Allende should not be playing the amount of minutes that he's playing. He will start. There's a game where in the Club World Cup, I think Tebza was substituted, rightfully so. But I watched that game and thought, if this was Allende was not going to be substituted. He was going to play 90 minutes. Tebza was rightfully substituted. I don't query that, but all I'm saying is, if it was Allende, he would have played the whole game. So you look at these things, man, and they anger me so much because Allende will play Nedbank, he'll play League, he'll play Champions League, there are games where you're like, Maralende shouldn't be playing, not because his form has dropped, but you protect him or you save his legs. But he starts, he plays that game. Like, does Allende have a clause? Because we know when it comes to the bonuses, the more you play, the more you receive. But I just got. Yeah, because I was not supposed to. Rapelang, Malums, you guys have 5 minutes between the two of you guys on this topic.
I think we have allowed those situations to happen. Man. I think they don't just come out of nowhere, man. There's someone who decide this should happen. And I think it gets where Lorena become unhappy because of the decision that are being made within the team. And I think Allende featuring in each and every game is not the decision that he made himself. There's someone at the top. It's either he made that decision or he agreed to that decision. And we speak about sometimes the player being rested and we play a domestic game, but a player like Allende, man, he's always available, man. He's always there. And we speak about the fairness. Sorry, there should be an equal treatment amongst the team. And they are, all the players are playing for Mamelodi Sundowns and they should be treated equal. Not just because of others, they come from South America and their price tag is different to other players, but the treatment once you arrive at Klukop should be the same, man. And these are small things that hinder Sundowns to get where we should be, man. As much as it might look like a smaller thing, but it has an impact on how the team can go and what the team can achieve, man. But now you're gonna, and another funny part is that now as well as the match preview, I would have maybe Mkulise or Billy on my lineup, and I will laugh for how it's not gonna happen. I can place a bet. It is not gonna happen.
No, they know. Do you know how frustrating that must be to be working your ass off at training and you know very well you won't play?
I wanted to highlight that part as well. I arrive at the session, I show up, I impress everyone, but come match day, I'm not part of the team. Sometimes the players, they don't put 100% effort because of they know come match day, I won't be there. So what's the use of me putting, showing commitment and putting effort where else on the match day, I'm not going to be even on the 18-man squad.
Malums, you've got 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay. Well, I don't want to mention names because
Malums mention names.
My head is already If I mention someone's name, more especially from the topic that we're touching now, I'm gonna be chowed.
Mention Allende.
But no, here's the thing. Now I have a problem. Why is it a problem to me is that we have so many players and then we're using one and the same players. When are we moving into a place that a place or a point to say chippy ka chippy? If you're gonna use one player and then you exhaust him, then he rust. Or one player is not being used, he's rusting there, he's sitting on the bench. So tabaya hore chippy ka chippy doesn't work. No. We don't have it. Because we use one and the same players until you run out of ideas. Now we only have option A. We play this player for about 1,000 minutes. And then
you literally play the player out of form.
Yeah. And then you have players who is around up at 600 minutes this season. And then you look at the numbers in the final third. He's above the player that played 1,000 minutes. He's above the player that we recently just signed. He's above almost every midfielder that we have. But hard. And that should be your plan B. So why are you not using your plan B? So tabaya, contracts that are stipulated that this player has to play so many games, it's hindering Sundowns. We are not able to flex our muscles enough.
Yeah.
You have each and every sport car that you can think of in your garage, but no, when you pick one, like every day you just
Want to drive, you want your Ferrari.
Yeah, your Ferrari.
Your Ferrari. And funny enough, they call him the engine. You see, V12. And then you have your V12, but against your V6, he fails. Because most midfielders in Africa, they move around V6 there. But your V12 doesn't do the V12 job. Even there's Vitina. Vitina is a shadow 6 too. He's not a number 6, but he's a shadow 6. But he does the same job Allende does, ne? The same role. But look at the numbers. Yeah. You go to Petri. Look at Gravenberch is not scoring, but he's a shadow 6. You look at his heat map, final third. The player that has to be doing the creative work is doing the defensive work at most, McAllister. There are so many profiles that you can look at and then you compare them to this player that plays so many minutes. You cannot play over 500 minutes and then not improve your game in the final third. Since you've come to Sundowns, all your passes are going to the back. How many passes do you have in the final third? We addressed Tabayahuri. You play so many minutes, and in those minutes, show us improvements that you are being direct. Tebs played so many minutes. Liena, we want goals from him. Mabunda was scoring goals. Kekana was scoring goals. Muriri was scoring. Ezro Miandoro was scoring goals. But suddenly, South American, and now we have to shield him that, he's an engine. Come on, guys.
He makes the team play.
He makes the team play. If you're going to make the team play, show us with your G&As.
Yeah.
Guys, I think that is where we should have part 1, because I think Malus needs to, cool down, and we'll be back for part 2. But thank you very much, guys, for watching the part 1 of our season preview. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and please do subscribe, follow us on every social media platforms, and help us grow this channel of ours. You will see us on part 2. Thank you.
Before you depart, this is not an agenda, but we are addressing issues.
Yeah, serious matters.
People must not find us wrong. This is not an agenda. Thank you.
Thank you.